Welcome to Scrum Masters Elite _UK. Click register to analyze and understand the world of rugby together.
Coach Mark McCall has given Maro Itoje a temporary break. I see McCall's decision as a choice driven more by humanity than pure professionalism. After a disappointing Six Nations Championship, where England finished fifth, the worst result in history, the pressure on key players like Itoje was inevitable. But what made me reflect even more deeply was his personal situation, losing his mother just before the tournament began. This is a shock that few could overcome in a short time, let alone competing at the highest level. I believe that in elite sports, people often talk a lot about fitness, tactics, and performance, but rarely give proper attention to the mental aspect. Itoje's case is a clear example that an athlete, no matter how strong, cannot separate from the personal emotional life. When someone faces such a significant loss, the fact that they still take the field and contribute is already admirable, and should not be judged solely by wins and losses. What impressed me was how McCall did not impose a long break, but instead offered a reasonable pause, enough to recover, but not to disrupt the rhythm of competition. He acknowledged that Itoje wants to play and is eager to return.
To me, this reflects a very typical mindset of professional athletes. They find meaning and balance in the very act of playing. Sometimes, being away from the field for too long makes them feel emptier. Here, I see a subtle balance between reason and emotion. McCall does not dismiss concerns about Itoje's mental health, but he also does not entirely agree with overstating the issue. He emphasized that this is not a season in which Itoje has been overplayed. He has even played less than usual. This made me realize another perspective. Resting more is not always the best solution. Understanding the player's actual state is what truly matters. I was also drawn to the detail of Itoje's outstanding performance against France. It shows that even under immense pressure, he can reach peak performance. This makes me wonder, do hardships and personal losses become a profound motivator that drives someone to excel? Or is it just a momentary surge, after which the body and mind need time to pay the price? There is no clear answer, but it highlights the complexity of an athlete's psychology. Alongside Itoje, Ben Earl's case also made me reflect. He was playing arguably the best rugby of his career but suffered a scalp-tear injury.
This reminds me of a harsh reality. Peak performance often comes with the highest risk. When an athlete reaches the top, they are also pushing their body to its limits. From all of this, I take a very clear lesson for myself. In life, we are like athletes, constantly striving, constantly chasing goals, sometimes forgetting that we need to pause. But stopping is not weakness, it is a necessary part of going further. The key is knowing when and how to stop without losing motivation when returning. I also think fans need a fairer, more humane perspective. Instead of criticizing when the team fails or a player underperforms, we should understand that behind every performance are countless invisible factors: pressure, injury, family, psychology. Itoje continuing to play after a personal tragedy is already commendable, and his break is entirely reasonable. A coach is not only someone who devises tactics but also someone who understands and protects their players. McCall has demonstrated this by balancing the team's interests while respecting Itoje's personal needs.
This is a lesson I believe applies to many areas. Leadership is not only about managing work, but also about managing people. Finally, what lingers for me is a feeling of both regret and hope. Regret for England's unsuccessful Six Nations, for the pressure and loss Itoje endured. But also hope, because he still wants to return, still has motivation, and is placed in an environment that cares and understands. I believe that if a good balance between rest and play, emotion and reason is maintained, Itoje will not only return but may come back even stronger. Humans are not machines. We need rest, understanding, and the freedom to continue moving forward in our own way.
Thank you for following Scrum Masters Elite _UK. Remember to take breaks at the right time, so you can come back stronger.